David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. I always find it interesting when companies come out with new and innovative designs and provide the market with something rarely seen or never even seen before. Today, I have for you a new pen that launched just a little bit over a month ago that does just that. And that pen is the Spoke Design Icon. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the Spoke icon, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. This review will be a little bit longer than usual, but there's a lot to go over with this pen, and I feel that it's important, and I hope you'll find the information useful as well as helpful. This is a pen I purchased myself. It wasn't provided or loaned. And at the end of the review, I will let you know how I feel about the value it provides and how it relates to the price I paid. The pen arrives in this box. This is how it's shipped. Right away, I was impressed by the packaging. It's very efficient. You open it up, and then on the inside, it does say Spoke. And then inside we have a Spoke Design sticker as well as a couple of cartridges. And then we have the pen in this little lightweight metal box. Okay, I'm very much an attention to detail kind of person. When it comes to pens, as well as in my regular work life, part of my job is to notice things that no one else will notice and see the small things that could potentially lead to kind of be leading indicators to things that might be larger issues, or things that are more positive indicators. Something that I noticed small right away, there's a little Spoke design here on the front, and then inside we have this little insert here. It has the Spoke logo, and then on the back it has the name of the pen, or it has the name of the pen, the icon on the back. It has thanks from both Brad and Brian. But what I noticed was the size of the insert in comparison to the box. It's smaller than the box, so it makes it really easy to get out with a fingernail in order to remove it. If it was larger, it would have been a real pain to get out, providing you with a frustrating experience before you even touch the pen. When I see thoughtful design elements like that, or the design of the shipping box, I consider that to be a positive leading indicator. If the company is paying attention to things like that, then I find the chances greater that they have the same level of attention when it comes to the actual product. On a side note, I've mentioned this before, but I used to work for the gaming hardware company Razer when it was just getting off the ground in the early 2000s. I was employee number 7. Our product came in a large metal container, about this large, but it was kind of the same material that this box is made of, but it was a lot larger. And we had to decide whether or not the label on the outside of the tin should be glued on, or if it should have an adhesive sticker. I know, big decisions. I can't recall exactly why we made the choice, but we went with glue, which proved to be a mistake. We had all of our inventory in a warehouse in Omaha, Nebraska, and apparently the building wasn't particularly temperature controlled. It was winter and the temperature in the warehouse was rather cold. And we found out that when the product got to a certain temperature, then the glue would become brittle and all the labels would just fall right off. So we had an entire inventory with labels that have fallen off the tins. So I vividly recall having to fly to Omaha and for several days help put sticker labels on thousands of tins. It was a very cold warehouse, not the most fun. When you're part of a product launch, those are the types of things that can trip you up and cause you endless headaches. So I appreciate it when companies get little things like that right. It just makes me smile. Okay, let's actually talk about the pen, which is right here. There is a lot to cover with this pen. This is the Spoke Design Icon. Spoke is based here in the United States and was founded by a gentleman by the name of Brian Conti back in 2014. The company's first product was an innovative mechanical pencil, which was offered in a number of different designs. Fast forward to 2019, and Brian brought on Brad to the company as a partner, and they teamed up to create the Spoke Rollerball. Now in 2021, they've released their first fountain pen. They've actually launched 3 different fountain pens. They have the Axle S, which is a smaller pocket pen, somewhat similar in size to the Kaweco Sport, but with a number 6 size nib. Then there is the Axle, which is similar to the Axle S, but with a longer barrel. And the last of the 3 models is what I have for you right here, the Icon, which is a bit thicker than the Axle. It's made from a lightweight anodized aluminum. When I say lightweight, I'm just referring to the overall weight of the pen. The material itself feels very sturdy and is something I feel could take a bit of a beating as an everyday carry or knockabout pen. The anodization process gives the pen a really nice matte texture and feel to it. I haven't broken out my microscope camera in a while. This is what that treatment looks like up close. The pen is available in 4 different base colors and 8 different accent colors. So you currently have 32 different configuration options. For the pen, it is available in storm gray, purple, black, or cyan. And then in regard to the accent colors, you can have black, silver, cyan, purple, blue, red, orange, and lime. And here's a look at the anodized barrel insert peeking through the body. One of the goals of Brian and Brad was to create a customizable pen that users could make their own. They wanted to give folks the feeling that this just wasn't a pen, that it was my pen. And I feel that they've done a good job of that. Let's start by taking a look at the cap. Inlaid onto the top is a metal disc engraved with the spoke logo. I like the looks of having this insert being a separate piece rather than just having the top of the cap engraved. The end of the cap is slightly tapered and the remainder of the cap is straight. This is a clipless pen. It doesn't have a roll stop either. I feel the overall design of the pen looks a little bit better without a clip or a roll stop. You'll just need to be careful when you set this pen down because it can potentially roll away if you're not paying attention. The transition between the cap and barrel is very smooth. And then we're presented with a barrel which is straight until the very end, where like the cap, it tapers down slightly, and in the end of the barrel, it has a rounded edge and is flat. I'm going to talk about the distinguishing feature of this pen, which is the customizable barrel and section here, in just a minute. I feel it's best if you get a close-up look at it live in action rather than just some close-up pictures. The cap twists off in 3.5 rotations, and underneath we have a JoWo number 6 stainless steel nib engraved with the spoke design logo. This pen is available in extra fine, fine, medium, and broad. I like how the engraving is filled with a black material. There are times when nib engravings can look a little bit cheap in my opinion, and that filling helps prevent that from happening. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section is concave. It is rather thin. While I find the curve to be rather deep, it's not so deep that it's going to force your grip into a specific position. The anodization process really helps prevent this fairly long section from being slick. Here you can see an extreme close-up of the treatment. The pitting really helps you maintain a solid grip on the pen. The section then transitions into the cap threads and a medium-sized step up to the barrel. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges, 2 of which came with the pen, and a converter is provided as well. With all of the metal included in here, eyedropping this pen would not be recommended. Okay, let's get to what makes this pen so cool, and that is the amount of customization that you can have. I feel that that's best demonstrated up close, so I'm going to mix the format up a little bit. I'm going to show you some measurements, and then over here at camera 2, I'll show you this unique barrel system and some size comparisons, as well as a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the spoke design Icon. Here it is with a Pilot Prera and a TWSBI VAX 700. And here it is with a Lamy All-Star. And in regard to a few other pens, here it is with a Platinum 3776 in the Chartreuse Blue and a Pilot Vanishing Point. This is the Rod and Water Surface. And then finally, here's a pen from my personal collection that one of these days I really need to review, which is the Sailor Pro Gear Kanreki. This was a pen that they produced to celebrate, I believe, the company's Nibmeister's birthday. And it just has some really cool symbolism and coloring to it. And one of these days I need to get around to reviewing that. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Prera, and then here it is with the All-Star, and finally here it is with the VAX 700. Okay, let's talk about customizing this pen. When you make the purchase of the icon, you can choose between one of 4 base colors, and then there are 8 different accent colors to choose from. This is the Storm Gray body and the Cyan accent. And then here is a set of purple accent materials. In order to change them out, this is what you do. It's a very simple design. Lots of companies offer customization options when you make your purchase. After purchase customization is rare. Typically, it's limited to a section. There are several companies out there which offer different section designs, and you can purchase those sections on their own from them. So you could interchange the parts on those pens, but I don't recall seeing one where you can, in essence, change the entire colorway of the pen. When you purchase a new set of accent parts, you can also include one of these, which is a specially designed tool. You can see here there are little notches on the end right there, and those match up with the notches that are here on the segment. Now, you could use just about any, or you could use an appropriately sized screwdriver in order to get in here. Now, it might work, but, I have no idea the width that you would need, and I have a feeling you could potentially scratch up the inside of your pen if you used one. So using one of those, well, even while the scratches wouldn't be visible from the outside, wouldn't be advisable. But what you do is you just take the tool and insert it in, and you can kind of twist it in. You can feel it fall into that little notch. And then it's helpful here that they have a directional and instructions here, and we want to remove. So we twist it this way, and we can see that it is coming out. You can either twist the tool or you can twist the barrel. And there you have the insert. Now, if you really wanted, you could leave this without the insert altogether, and then you'd see the converter in here through the slits, and they would act as a large ink window. I don't feel that that's as visually interesting, though. Converters don't tend to be that attractive. I kind of wonder when someone will design a converter that will actually have some style to it and looks attractive. Something that you'd want to see or have exposed. I have a couple of converters from Nakaya that have some Makie painting on them, but the converter itself is just a standard platinum converter. Now, I don't have much in the way of product design skills, so I need to rely on someone else in order to come with a converter design that is more visually interesting. So all that you need to do then is you want to go ahead and insert the new colorway in there. Whoops, if I can hold on to the tool. And, whoops. Then you can twist it in the opposite direction. And twist it down, and now you have a new barrel color. Now you could mix and match if you really wanted to, but if you wanted to go ahead and trade out the section also, now normally I wouldn't do this with this as inked. I'll probably make a mess of this, but you can remove the converter, you can untwist, we can put this in the right way, and reattach the converter. Did I make a mess? A little bit. And now we have ourselves a purple pen. The insert is really easy to screw in, and it never feels like you're forcing it. It's really smooth. I will say the edges of the slits are a bit sharp. You don't feel it when you are using the pen, only when you're really kind of gripping down on it when you're capping or uncapping or changing out the insert. It's not so sharp that it's uncomfortable, but it's sharp enough to get your attention. Now, I like the idea of interchangeability in concept. For me personally, I tend to purchase a pen and leave it rather than mix things up and trade out sections. I'm not sure if I'll ever fully utilize that feature, but I do like that it's there. Now, I do tend to match my inks to my pens. There's just certain colors that, in my opinion, look a little bit better coming out of certain pens. Maybe I could see myself changing up the ink colors to match or changing the colors to match up the ink that I'm using. Then it would also be helpful as a visual indicator to remind me of what pen I have, what ink I have this pen inked up with. Let's go ahead and do a writing sample, and then we'll talk price. So here we have the spoke design, and this is the icon. This is a medium stainless steel nib, and the ink that I'm using is from Leonardo, and it is called their Smeraldo. Which means emerald in Italian. This is what the ink looks like. This is one of their brand new inks, which was just made available here recently. I really like the kind of bluish, greenish, tealish color to it. Looks very similar to another one of my recent favorite inks, which is the Stilo and Stile Roman Bronze Oxidation. And this is what it looks like with the J. Herbin Emerald de Chivor. This is what the Leonardo ink bottles look like. It is a nice size. They're 40 milliliter. The bottle for the ink that I have, the Smeraldo, actually just had writing on it. They sent it to me before it came out, and it didn't even have a label on it. But this is what the label looks like on their bottles once they actually hit production. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. This is a standard Jowo number 6 stainless steel nib. You're not going to get tons of flexibility out of here. That the ink flow I find on this pen is decent for a medium. On this particular one, it could probably use a little bit of a polishing or a little bit of smoothing on it. It's not out of alignment. It just needs is a little more feedback than my personal taste, and I'll probably end up smoothing this out just a little bit. But that's how nibs sometimes come from the factory. In regard to reverse writing, it's a little sharp, but it gets the job done. And in regard to some fast writing, there's no issue with the feed keeping up whatsoever. Okay, the spoke design icon, as well as the other two models I mentioned previously, are available to purchase through the spoke design website. I'll put a link to it in the notes below. The icon, complete with the accent color of your choice, retails for $119. An additional section and sleeve. The terms they use on their site are grip and sleeve. Those are $20 without the installation tool and $27.50 with it. So I spent my own money for this pen. Do I feel it was worth it? I do. I mentioned it previously, but the specific nib that I received could use a little bit of smoothing, which happens from time to time with nibs. But that's the only issue that I really had with the pen. I really like the looks. I like the ability of having an option to change the parts if I'd like. And I like supporting small businesses which create quality products. And I feel that this is indeed a quality product. Okay, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.